Is the government trying to silence the way you track the election, or are they just trying to stop a new kind of financial chaos? We are witnessing a massive legal collision that could change the future of how Americans interact with politics. Before we continue, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in U.S. politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow and ensures you don't miss our daily updates on the stories that matter. So, let's get into the heart of the matter. On Tuesday, the Trump administration officially filed a lawsuit against the state of Minnesota, directly challenging a new law that effectively bans prediction markets. Now, you might be asking yourself why the federal government is going to such lengths over a state-level policy. It isn't just about one state. This is part of a much larger, increasingly intense turf war between federal regulators and local legislatures. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission, or the CFTC, has been making waves lately, launching repeated lawsuits against states that attempt to restrict these platforms. Their argument is simple but incredibly powerful. The CFTC claims it holds exclusive jurisdiction over sites like Kalshi and Polymarket. They view these platforms not as local gambling dens, but as sophisticated financial instruments that fall under their federal umbrella. In the CFTC's view, if a state is allowed to simply ban these markets, it creates a fragmented, chaotic regulatory environment that undermines the national financial system. The lawsuit essentially argues that Minnesota has overstepped its bounds. The filing explicitly warns that if Minnesota's law is permitted to go into effect without a federal challenge, it could open the floodgates for other states to impose their own patchwork of restrictions. This would essentially kill the viability of prediction markets, which rely on being accessible across state lines to function properly. But what does this actually mean for you? If you've been following platforms like Polymarket, you know they have become a major alternative to traditional polling. People aren't just betting money. They are effectively putting their money where their mouth is regarding election outcomes. Proponents argue that these markets provide a more accurate, real-time snapshot of the electorate than traditional media polls, which are often criticized for bias or outdated methodology. By suing Minnesota, the Trump administration is essentially defending the existence of these digital arenas, positioning them as essential tools for financial transparency. However, the opposition sees it differently. Critics of these platforms argue that they incentivize election interference and turn the sanctity of the democratic process into a casino game. They worry that large-scale financial bets could influence voter behavior or even create incentives for disinformation campaigns. Minnesota is betting, no pun intended, that they have the right to protect their citizens from this perceived risk. The outcome of this case is going to have ripple effects far beyond the Midwest. If the courts side with the CFTC, it will effectively cement federal control over all election betting platforms, stripping states of their ability to regulate this industry. It would be a massive win for the proponents of prediction markets, who have been desperate to operate without the constant threat of state-level shutdowns. On the other hand, if the court rules that states do indeed have the power to regulate these markets, we could see a total collapse of these platforms as they struggle to comply with 50 different sets of laws. This is a classic battle of federalism versus local autonomy, and the stakes are remarkably high. Are we looking at the birth of a new, transparent way to forecast political futures, or are we witnessing the unchecked expansion of high-stakes gambling into our elections? So what do you think about this? Should the federal government have the final say on what platforms are available to you? Or should individual states have the authority to decide if election betting is safe for their citizens? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one, and am curious to see where you stand on this. Whatever the outcome, this is a story that is moving fast. We're going to be monitoring the legal briefs and the court's reactions as they drop. The fight for the future of information and finance is heating up, and we are going to be here to break it down for you every step of the way. Stay sharp, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next one.